Communication. Have you ever thought about communication? I feel like it's one of those things that you don't really think about. It's like running or riding. You learn it during your early childhood and that's it. You don't really dive into it anymore or expand on it because it just becomes this innate thing that you have, and why would you need to learn about communication? And I'm doing a 30-day challenge where I'm just talking to the camera directly for 10-15 minutes and that's it. And I know it might sound like a funny thing to do, but the reason why I'm doing this is because my friend Hugh recently opened my eyes to the world of communication and how it can really impact your life and others too. And what led up to this is we were learning communication skills in class, and specifically how to communicate with business owners as videographers. And the premise is basically, in order to really help a business owner, we need to understand what is going through their head. So why they're running their business, what motivates them, what's their passion, what's their struggle, and ultimately how we can help them. So in order to do that, we need to extract all those informations from the business owner, who most of the time is actually a stranger. We don't know each other beyond that first conversation. So in order to effectively understand how we can help them, we need to practice effective and good communication, because in order to work together, we need to be on the same wavelength and we need to be on the same channel so that there's no misunderstandings, because everyone it's so easy to misunderstand each other, right? And ultimately, it's such an important skill to learn, and it will improve your career as a videographer, as anything really, if you learn the skill of communication. And I think what's interesting is that in class, you can really tell how quickly communication can be improved. Because from my really bad memory, I think there is around 5 communication skills or ways you can improve your communication. So I think it's tonality, volume, expression, body language, and melody, I think. So yeah, we were kind of playing around with these factors or ways we can play with how we express ourselves. And it's really interesting because at the start of the class, you can see how everyone communicates and how everyone just talks normally. And nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the class, you can tell that those small changes, how much they have impacted the way the message is received, because and just even the retention rate of the information. So the message is so much clearer, and the information that I remember is way more than at the start. So communication can actually be improved really quickly if you put the work into practicing it, which is why I'm doing this. And I think that the more I learn about communication, the more I realize that it's actually such an important aspect of our lives that we don't really think about. And I just find it interesting because I've always struggled to connect with people on a deeper level in a short amount of time. And what I've realized is that one of the reasons that might have contributed to that, and I know that many people struggle with this too, is that maybe we just don't know how to communicate our thoughts clearly. And it's a weird thing to think about, but it's just, the more you think about it, the more it makes sense. Because I think communication is like texting. You know, it's just putting words into a sentence and then sending that off for the other person to take and interpret. And what's interesting about texting is that when you text just the word, that text itself can be taken in so many different ways. And it really depends on the reader's emotional state, what the context is before that text, and many other factors. So I think that's why we add punctuations and emojis, you know, because those little things can really change how that text is taken and interpreted by the reader. And ultimately, we want that text to convey exactly what we want to convey and not be taken the wrong way. And that's how I understand communication in terms of spoken communication. So we can, like, the way we say things can be misunderstood as well, like a lot of the times, just depending on the tone we said it in, what our facial expression is and body language is when we say it, and yeah, all that kind of things, right? All those factors. And so that's why I think it's really important to practice this for anyone, no matter what you do, no matter how old you are, doesn't matter. I feel like everyone can learn and should learn about communication because, yes, ultimately we all want to be understood and we all want to connect with people and find people that we are on the same wavelength with. So in order to do that though, you have to really tune into your channel and really understand how to express yourself clearly and not be misunderstood by people or misunderstand people, for that matter of fact. Like it goes both ways. Communication goes both ways. So that is why I think, even though it's really hard, like this is actually really hard to think about communication actively, and I'm struggling right now because I'm like trying to actively observe and edit myself, I guess, in real time. So, but I think it's really valuable because I think even, yeah, the more you do it, the more natural it'll become and the more ingrained it'll become. And it's kind of like a system update, you know, like it just, yeah, after the update, you're done. Well, not done, but yeah, you're upgraded, your software is better and you can communicate better, more efficient. And ultimately, I think communication is just important to learn and understand, because the more we practice and the better we get at expressing our emotions, our thoughts, our needs, and just, yeah, we'll connect with people better. And they can understand us more, we can understand them better, and there will be less misunderstandings, less conflict, and everyone will just get along better and maybe feel less lonely. And I think that is a beautiful thing in itself, just by learning how to communicate. So that's day one of me rambling to the camera about communication. And yeah, I guess I'll talk again tomorrow.